Is cycle coaching worth it when you look actually at specific numbers and data? So I've been being coached from around February. They're called Transition Cycle Coaching. They're an online coaching company, so I'm going to leave their details in the link below if you're interested in seeing what they're about. So I started with them in February. It is the end of April now, and I just wanted to kind of talk specifically about numbers. If you are not interested in numbers, in watts per kilo, all that kind of stuff, you will not want to watch this video. So feel free just to turn off, because it is going to be completely numbers based. Because I want to be objective. I want to look at this objectively rather than just me being on the bike going, oh my God, I feel amazing. I want to look objectively at the numbers. So that is what we're going to do in this video. So I'm going to start off by saying I've got like a whole list of things that I want to talk about in this video, because it is important, because there's a lot of stuff to get through. So I do my training generally on an indoor trainer on Zwift, and I want to make it clear from the very off that my indoor and outdoor powers are very different. Not very different, but they are different. Outdoor, my watts are higher. I don't know why that is. I don't know if it's because I've got, you know, just the breeze that cools me down easier than a fan. I don't know what it is. But my outdoor FTPs and power is generally always higher than my indoor. So I'm just going to get that out of the way straight away. So to make this kind of a fair comparison, as fair as I possibly can do, I'm going to look at indoor and outdoor comparisons. So firstly, I'm going to look at the indoor Zwift stuff. So I did a FTP test on Zwift on the 6th of February this year. And that 20-minute power was 248 watts, which gives me an FTP of 236 watts. And this week I did a session of threshold of 3 20-minute efforts between 230 and 260 watts. And out of those 3 20-minute efforts, I did an effort of 240 for 20 minutes, average, this is average power, 247, and a third one at 254, which then increased my FTP on Zwift. So the FTP updated is 241 watts FTP. So you've got to remember though that is 3 lots of 20 minutes. So even though I increased my FTP, that was after 3 hard sessions of 3 20-minute efforts. So that's not even, I've not even done a follow-up FTP. So already we've seen massive increases of capability in how long I can hold power for. So I held that power on average for those for an hour, which I just think is just, I just feel quite shocked that I've managed to do that. I didn't think that I'd be able to do that. So, I mean, that's quite exciting. I know it's functional threshold power, and I understand it's like you use that figure for an hour and take it off the 20 minutes like that. I understand how that works, but I'm just saying that from that, like that first 20-minute effort that I did in February, like I was puffed at that. I was like, I can't do any more. And already I've been able to do 3 sessions of more intensity in an hour than I did then. So that's really exciting. And I've only been doing it for a couple of months. So that's really exciting to see. So let's get on to the road, because there's no point being better indoors on Zwift if you're not going to be faster or feel stronger out on the road. So I'm going to compare a climb which is my favourite climb. It is Dovestones, it's Skye Road, Home Firth Road. It's the A635. It is one of my favourite roads to climb. It's just always the one that I've always done efforts on, and it's also like my indicator of to seeing how I'm doing. So I did basically this week I got a PB up there, so I wanted to compare, you know, the difference, because generally that is when I do an FTP up that climb. So the last 20-minute effort that I did up there where I actually got an improvement was in July 2017, and my time up there was 23:27. So that 20-minute power for that in July was 274 watts, which gives me an FTP, which it was then, of 260 watts. And at the time I was about 5 kilos heavier, so my watts per kilo were 3.61 watts per kilo. So that's just what happened in July. And then A day after I did this 3 20-minute session on Zwift, I then went out onto the road because I was feeling good, the weather was nice, I went out. So bear in mind that my legs had just had 3 basically FTP tests of what it had been previously. I went out and the weather was nice, like I said, I just wanted to have a good time on my bike, having a thrash up some of the hills, just feeling a little bit like, I felt strong, but my legs did feel tired. And so I went up Duff Stones again, and that effort, it was a PB and I got 22 minutes 44, and that gave me, the average power for that was 272 watts. So that was 2 watts less than the 7 months prior to that. And this was after a hard day on Zwift. And so my FTP was 258 watts. So in comparison, the July 2017, 260 FTP. April 2018, 258 FTP. And you have to remember, in between that time, I've lost 5 kilos. So that just shows that my power has increased. So, and the biggest differentiator, because even though the watts don't look that different, my watts per kilo are now 3.85 for that, because I'm now like 67 kilos, around 67 anyway. So my watts per kilo has increased from 3.61 to 3.85. And remember, that's not even on a day where I'm like, right, I'm ready to do an FTP, I really want to give it everything. And seeing these figures, I know it's not an FTP to an FTP, and I will do an updated video on that, but this is like an interim one just to show you where my numbers are at and how I'm feeling, how I'm performing by having set structured training sessions. And so I just think it's really exciting that, like, I mean, if you're not into numbers, you probably won't even be watching this far, but I love seeing that improvement. I love seeing that increase in power, that increase in ability, because for me, it's not just about an FTP, and FTPs I don't think are a great gauge. And yes, I'm looking at this just to show you of how my numbers are improving, how they're increasing, but it's the power overall. So even though my FTP is getting stronger, it's actually the endurance stuff that it's helping as well. The way that my plans work are in a way that are helping endurance rides as well, because there's no point me being able to ride 20 minutes up a climb like fast, like, well, there is obviously, but that 20 minutes is no use to me, because that's not my goal. My goal is not to try and do an amazing 20-minute effort. My goal is to be able to ride endurance, and as you can see already, this is the start of the season. So in comparison to that, like the July FTP is like, I should be kind of getting to a really good place. It's the middle of summer, and April this time, I'm almost at the same wattage, 5 kilos less weight, and I'm doing practically the same effort on a day where my legs feel heavy. So to me, that just shows like how important it is if you want to ride faster, if you want to ride further, if you want to ride longer. Like I completely underestimated what I thought of the power of coaching, and I'm just really excited to see where my watts go, how much further distances I can ride. And by doing this, by building all this base fitness up, it's helping me on the endurance stuff. I am going to try and talk my coach into doing a bit of an interview on here so that he can explain this better, because I just think it's really important. I really, if cycling's what you're into and distance or whatever it is, whatever your goal is, then I just think it is very, very interesting, and I love seeing the numbers. So I hope this video helps. It has been probably a bit confusing because there are a lot of numbers kicking around. I hope I've made it easy enough for you to understand. But I think that is pretty much it for this video. So if you've got any questions, as always, leave them in the comments below, and I will see you next video.